Hello, everyone. My name again is Jeffrey Davis, and I am host of Radio Entrepreneurs, also chairman of the board of MAGE, LLC. And this is On the Record, which means we are up at the law firms of Tarlow, Breed, Hart, and Rogers, thanks to Mark Furman. And that means my co-host for this segment is the one and the only Mark Zwetschgenbaum.
Wow. And you said the full name, not just Mark Z.
Well, they didn't write Mark Z on my pad, so, I don't get a chance to say your full name a lot.
Thank you. I am honored, and I'm honored to be here.
It's
and
a
I'm
great
excited.
name.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, once you know what Zwetschgenbaum, you know them all.
And you say it so well. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. I'm sure you were frustrated when you were younger when people mispronounced it. But our next guest, not a Zwetschgenbaum, is Ross Yellin, Managing Director, Practice Alchemy. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me and for not having to say his last name.
Okay.
well done.
I guess that's why my family hundreds of years ago picked a much easier name, Davis. Why don't you, Ross, tell us about the firm and what you do? Because you're a national firm and you really are quite good at what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the Managing Director of Practice Alchemy. We are a law firm marketing firm. So we do exactly that. We go to law firms. We work with firms of all sizes across the country, from single partner to you name the size. Quite large. And what do we do for them? We help them increase their client portfolio, help them obviously therefore increase revenue. And it's everything from not only getting them more clients, but also getting them better clients. So, depending on where they are on the spectrum there, really based on what their goal is as well.
Well, being a management consultant with some marketing background, if I were advising somebody where to do marketing, maybe the last places I would ever recommend that they go are law firms. It's a hard place to do marketing because it's management by committee with people who don't know marketing. So tell us how you have been able to become successful in a very complicated environment.
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head there.
It's a compliment on you.
Thank you. You hit the nail on the head there. It is a complicated environment, which is really how we differentiate ourselves and how we are successful. Because I myself am an attorney. We have many attorneys on staff. So it's people that have really been in those trenches that understand how firms operate. So, when you have to deal with that marketing committee, but you have a deadline and, hey, your deadline is tomorrow. The next marketing committee isn't for, 2 weeks, sometimes even a month out. How do you get those approvals? How do you work through the channels of a law firm? So we really work, as a partner of our clients. I make a point of when we start a relationship, I go to the firm, I'm shaking everyone's hand. I'm saying, hey, I'm your marketing partner. I'm here to help you. Everyone has my cell phone number. That's the tiniest tip of the iceberg there, but it's really, the most critical piece is that we get it, we understand it, we are attorneys, we've been in their shoes, and we really work to understand, how each firm is unique. So sure, we can generalize and say, that there are marketing committees, but at the end of the day, there's a managing partner that can likely make that decision, and we try and understand exactly what the structures are to really drive those things forward.
So here's the interesting thing. You say you've been in the shoes, but what's interesting about you is two things. One, and you're an attorney. One is you've been entrepreneurial from the start because you had your own law firm. You worked in smaller firms, so you sort of were in the trenches. And then you've also been heavily involved with one of the most successful sports teams in the world, the Boston Red Sox.
How'd you know that stuff?
So how did you?
You've done your research.
Wow.
So how did you figure out a way to combine them? And not to say anything out of school, but for our listeners, you're a young guy.
I don't know where Mark got that cheat sheet, but none of that stuff's over here that I'm looking at.
He did his homework.
So let's get in the Wayback Machine as he's asking, and let's go through your career. How did you evolve into this? What's your progression?
Oh boy! All right, I know we have to keep it short, so I will do my best to be concise. Let's see, we've got quite a few years to cover here. So I started with the Red Sox when I was 17, and it was actually an internship through high school. That internship was supposed to come to an end, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. And then they said, you're not going anywhere. And now, nearly 17 years later, I'm actually still there. I work on an extremely part-time basis now, pretty much just enough to show up for opening day and help them execute the on-field events.
Very cool.
But that that experience overall really was eye-opening. How do you become, upper management of a ball club, of an extremely successful ball club? And by the way, I would like to comment that I started in 2004, so I don't think there's any coincidence of the, trajectory of the team there. But, and so I actually became quite friendly with upper management and executives. And if you take a look at the landscape, you realize that a lot of them are attorneys. They were practicing attorneys at some point in their career.
Theo Epstein.
Theo, Larry Lucchino.
Larry Lucchino.
And so I kind of took a look at that at an early age and said, gee, maybe this is something I want to go into. I also had the supporting factor of my father being an attorney as well. So that was kind of always in the back of my mind there. So fast forward, graduated from Dickinson College, very proud Dickinson graduate. Went straight to evening school. I went to school, law school at night at New England Law, where I worked for a law firm in my hometown throughout all 4 years. And that's really where I cut my teeth in law, where I learned everything I more or less needed to know to then start my own practice in real estate. I woke up one morning, to be honest, I wasn't thrilled with what I was doing, and I was running my own practice. It was successful. I had clients, I was making money, kind of all of the metrics that, that you're looking to hit. And I just didn't love it. I was presented with the opportunity to head up marketing at a biotech company in Cambridge. I kind of said, when I met the CEO and he presented me with the offer, I was like, I'm an attorney. Why do you want me? And he said, no, your real experience is what you did with the Red Sox and you're passionate about it. And so it was kind of that entrepreneurial role of, it was a startup. No one had really held the role that I was going to be taking.
Right.
So I could build it myself. So it kind of hit that, why I started my own practice. And then I was introduced to Raj Jha, who is our founder at Practice Alchemy. Again, great entrepreneur, started his own practice, which was an absolutely burgeoning practice. He made a very successful exit there, working with Facebook, major tech giants. And so I met him. It was a natural fit. And he said, hey, we really need to clean up operations here and make this thing really fire. I think you're the right guy for it. And I said, so you want me to marry my background of marketing with my legal practice? Sign me up.
So the difference, again, what I find and Jeff finds, because we are heavily involved in the legal space, is you can have your marketing people that are really, really sharp, but they're usually not attorneys. You can have some marketing people that are attorneys, but were in large roles at large firms. What you've done is you've married two positions where you started in the back of the house and you worked to be high in the front of the house, in the trenches. So I think that's really important when you're talking to attorneys, because you really have lived there, you lived in their shoes. And you can say that, whereas a lot of people say that, but it's not really reality.
I'm not going to go through my background. No one wants to interview with me, but I've married.
I do.
I've married at least 3 backgrounds, so I would agree. The merging of the legal background, the entrepreneurial background, the marketing background. I think sports is a great marketing training too. So I would even add that to it. I think the fact that you had, you allowed yourself to be humble enough to really work from the bottom up in all those fields allows you to be better at what you do today. And I would assume it comes through when you're soliciting clients.
Yeah, it's well, thank you. First of all, I'm blushing, that's hard to get me to do.
I can't see it, but that's all right.
But thank you. It's very, very kind. But yeah, it's definitely what makes me specifically, if I can toot my own horn for a second, stand out. But Practice Alchemy as well. As I mentioned, we have a whole team of, we have a whole staff, many of whom are attorneys as well. And it's really what makes us stand out. Even from, we have some of our writers who are honestly just writing the content for our clients are attorneys. So it's coming to the table with that background and really understanding, and having that team to really round it out. One of the reasons people find Practice Alchemy is that they might have a single marketing person on staff, but they're just a single person.
And they're very tactical. Most attorneys are just looking for I'm doing a seminar, help me put together the material for it. They really don't have people who are a little bit more elevated in the way they're thinking about the firm.
That's right.
Intuitive, right?
Right.
The strategic part is often missed. It's kind of, I have to do this today, I have to do this tomorrow, I have to do that the next day.
Extremely tactical, I found.
Extremely tactical. And there's no kind of 3-5 year vision there, not even a year's vision. It's, it's day to day. And that's where we come in. Our, excuse me, our partnerships start, we work on what we like to call an app program. So we do an audit. We work to understand it's audit pilot program. So we do an audit to understand exactly what your business is. If you have several practice areas, do you need more work in one of those practice areas more than the other? If so, we're going to start there. So we do that audit, holistic view of your business, not just your marketing, your entire business. What's working, what's not? Do you have staff members that are underutilized across the board? What the competitive landscape is. We are a national firm, so we have to understand what that competitive landscape is, whether it's Kansas City or Houston or San Francisco. And then we work to identify what can differentiate you. We put that all together. We say, here's what we can do for you. Here's kind of our strategic vision for you. At that point, we move into a pilot program. We work with you for 6 months, and we say, these are the metrics, these are the marks that we're hoping to hit. At the 6-month mark, 5-month mark, we really kind of revisit that and say, is this working? Is this not? Is this the right fit for you? I'm happy to report that usually the answer is yes. And then we move into our program, which is, a long-term relationship.
What I also want to just follow up with you, because I know you represent solos and you represent big firms. How are your rates structured in terms of, do you look at each situation? Do you have like an a la carte? Do you have like, as you go through this process?
Some ad agencies would have a rate sheet, but I would assume you're much more dynamic than that.
We certainly are, and frankly, we have to be.
Because law firms are so unique.
That's exactly right, and not only are law firms unique, but we can break it down to the solo practitioner versus big law. But you could actually break it down in so many more ways. Right. So our pricing actually comes out of our audit. So we do charge for the audit. The audit, as I said, is a full look at the business. That ultimately law firm is a business.
Right.
So is a full look at the business. So that price is dependent somewhat on how large that business is and how much of an endeavor that's going to be.
Right.
We also do interview in that audit process. Not only do we look at all the information and data that the firm is providing, we also do stakeholder interviews. So if there's several practice groups, for example, then we're going to be speaking with the chair people
Excellent.
Of those practice groups. So that all factors into that. But then the price kind of comes from that audit.
That's
so
great.
Here's what we can do for you. Here's how much that price is going to
That's the
cost.
way I would say to price it. Everybody, we've been speaking with Ross Yellin, Managing Director of Practice Alchemy, with Mark Z from Mark Z Legal Staffing. Ross, we could spend all day talking to you about marketing. So can we make a commitment on the mic that you're going to come back again and we'll talk about some more cases?
Absolutely.
Great. If somebody's looking for you at Alchemy, how would they find you?
PracticeAlchemy.com. We have a contact us site on there, and we also have a live chat, so you can sometimes even chat with me just through our website.
Great. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Remind everybody, we want to thank also the law firm of Tarlow, Breedhart, and Rogers, committed to legal excellence and this legal show that we put on with them. And we're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages.